welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about how we bought our house. So we bought our house last year when I was 21 and Harry was 22. So it's not a common age to really be buying a house, and I totally appreciate that. It was definitely not on our minds before this whole situation kind of came about, which I'm going to go into. And we kind of had it in our heads that we weren't really going to be buying for a good few years, but things just happened, and like I say, this is what this video is about. As well as like how we found the process, how we saved up the deposit, etc, etc. So without further ado, I've got notes on my phone to help me get through this, because like I said, I don't want to forget anything, but I also don't want this video to be super rambly, so I'm just going to get right into it. Quick disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. This is not me giving you financial advice. This is just me talking through my experience and giving you advice, like kind of, but from my personal experience, not financial advice. To begin, I'll give you a brief history of kind of our living history, I guess. So I think on this YouTube channel I have actually got a tour of our old apartment, which is actually in a town called Wokingham. We moved there to be close to work, however it just didn't really work out. We had pretty bad neighbours above us, which I won't go into, and we never really got settled there. We were always going back to like my parents' house and that every single weekend, and we just moved there to basically be close to work. So the apartment just wasn't right for us. We had a 6-month break clause, so we gave 2 months notice at 4 months, I think. So we really hadn't been there very long before we decided, like, no, this is just not for us. It was a lovely apartment, absolutely perfect, but I think we just got unlucky with where we lived exactly. We were right by the station as well, so like traffic built up so bad in the mornings and the evenings when we were going and coming back from work. After that we moved back to my hometown, which is in Surrey, and we loved it. We moved into the most amazing house. We absolutely loved it. It's where Bailey's like puppy vlog is filmed, like in the garden stuff and living room and bedroom, whatever. That's all in our old house. We had the most amazing landlord who was the most sweet woman. She was literally an angel. We absolutely loved her, and we were actually really sad when we ended our tenancy there. The reason for that was because our jobs got relocated, which is like an hour and a half away from, especially in rush hours, like an hour and a half to 2 hours each way from where we're currently living. So we're like, okay, well, what do we do? Like, we can't just stay and live here, because that's not a healthy commute at all for your body or your mental health. It's just really not good to be spending that amount of time in a car every single day. So we kind of gave it a lot of thought. I decided I didn't really massively want to rent, because I really didn't want to have to revisit the situation we had in Wokingham, which was just feeling completely unsettled and not feeling like we really belonged there. And I just felt like moving to somewhere completely new, well away from home, that we'd never really been to before, regardless of if it's only an hour or whatever away when there's not traffic, I just didn't want to feel like I didn't belong. I really wanted to have proper roots and find somewhere that kind of gave me a meaning and a purpose to actually be there, that wasn't just work. We realised, okay, we probably actually can buy. We contacted a mortgage advisor. I really highly recommend getting a really good mortgage advisor that you gel with, and one that is so good at communicating with you. So we never ever had to go and visit our mortgage advisor in person. He was always available on the phone or an email to answer my hundreds and hundreds of questions. He was amazing. I cannot recommend him enough. He was working with Which mortgage advisors before, but then they closed that part of their business, so he now has an independent business, which I will link in the description if you're very interested and you're looking to buy a house and you need a really top of the range mortgage advisor who is just incredible. Like, I've heard other people have their experiences with their mortgage advisors, and I'm shocked that so many can be so impersonal and cold and just unhelpful, and also a lot of them sell like extra things that they earn commission on that aren't actually necessary in buying a house. So like I say, I really recommend him. It's called Lewis. He's absolutely lovely. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Hit him up if you're looking to buy a house. Once we realised we could actually afford it and what kind of mortgages were open to us, we kind of like got a bit more of a level head and started to look. So I will go into, because this is more about like how we bought a house at kind of such a young age, I feel I kind of need to talk about like how we got our jobs a little bit first and give a bit of background about that. So I work as a project manager and Harry works as a network specialist. I think that's his job. I don't know. He does something very, very complicated. He essentially, at the moment, with all this virus stuff, he makes sure there's enough capacity on the 111 and 999 services to ensure that if you need an ambulance or a doctor or whatever, that you're actually able to get through and the phone lines are all working. So he is a key worker and he's working very, very hard. And yeah, that's his job kind of in short, but he does a lot more than that as well. And I am just a project manager who delivers technical products to enterprises. So it's a Fortune 500 company, it's in technology, so it's quite a good industry to be in at the moment. We both got our jobs through their sponsored degree program. Harry started a year before me, so naturally because he started sooner, he's progressed more and had like more salary reviews, so he earns like a little bit more than me. I started a year before, so I haven't fully graduated mine yet, but I still earn a good amount. So the sponsored degree program is essentially where you work full time as your normal job, so like say project manager, and you teach yourself a full degree at the same time, and the company pays for all your resources basically. So we're very, very lucky that we essentially get a free degree, but it's also such hard work. Honestly, my degree is so hard. The amount of times I've cried over it, and I don't cry very easily whatsoever, on top of working full time in a normal job. I'm basically always working, and it's very, very hard and definitely not for the faint-hearted. So yes, it's great because I get a good salary package, I get good pension, bonus, holiday, etc. But I do have to work really, really hard for it. I don't want to make it sound like I just got lucky or something. I can chat through the whole process that I went through to actually get the job if you're interested in something like that. So it's like a really good way to get into a big company, and one that pays well, to then enable us to be eligible to get a mortgage, essentially, because it's all about kind of how much you earn as a couple. When you're getting a mortgage, your salary's like put together. So for your first house, you're typically allowed to borrow a maximum of 4.5 times your collective salary. So if you're buying a house for £300,000, you had a 10% deposit of £30,000, and then you needed to borrow £270,000 from the mortgage lender, then you need to have a collective salary of £60,000. That's basically how that kind of works, with how much you can borrow based on kind of not having any kids, not having any dependencies is what they call it, and good credit score and all that jazz, basically not being in loads of other debt, essentially. You need to earn £60,000 collectively to get a house for £300,000 with a 10% deposit. Basically, that is like the basics. There's a lot more to it than that, but just bear that in mind. So when we decided that we were going to target on buying a house, we decided to move in with my parents, who were very kind to let us both live there. Harry paid them a little bit of rent, and I think we put money towards like our food and stuff. But either way, we had very, very small like cost of living compared to how we were living in our old house, where we were paying so much in rent. Like we were paying way more rent then than we do now on our mortgage, which is just crazy. So yeah, we were very lucky that we had that option available to us, and I totally appreciate that. That is not an option for everyone. Like I say, we were prepared to be in it for the long run with renting, and we were totally fine with that. It's obviously just, if you can buy, then why not? If you can save up that money for the deposit, then why not? We only paid a 5% deposit on our house. A lot of people tell you that you need to have 10%, but that's actually not necessarily true. I don't know if it's going to change now with the economic uncertainty, but in our case, we were able to get 5% deposits on our mortgage, which was great. I mean, it halves the saving time, and you can just find a house quicker because you don't have to save up so much money. Obviously it's not a small amount. So if you do have the funds to pay a 10% deposit, then definitely do that, because you'll pay less interest, and also you've got more equity in the house. So if the house falls into negative equity, then it can be so difficult to move if you ever want to. So if you're going for a 5% deposit, then just make sure like you're in it for the long run and you want to stay there for a good like 5 years or so, and that is definitely our plan. I hope that makes sense. There's loads of videos on negative equity on YouTube, so go check them out if you're interested, or if you're looking to buy a house at the moment, then it's definitely something you should be looking at, because if house prices fall and you've got a mortgage that's for more than the house's value, then like I say, it can be so hard, nearly impossible to move. So because we moved out of our rented house into my parents' house, we were able to save up that money quite quickly. There's obviously 2 of us, so it helps to definitely have someone else, especially when you're looking to buy a house. Like, I could not buy this house on my own. He can buy it without me and I couldn't buy it without him. Like, that is just the way it is. If you want to buy a good house, then you kind of need to have someone else, unless you're earning a lot and you're in a very successful job. But if you are still on your own, then you can still own somewhere. It just might not necessarily be your dream house straight away. So our house had no chain, which is definitely preferential when you're looking for a house. It's still quite complicated, still without chain. We decided to get the survey done before sending our mortgage application off in full, just simply because we didn't want to like make a full mortgage application and then something come out in the survey that turned us off the house completely and made us pull out essentially. I do kind of recommend that. Like I said, I'm not an advisor, but I just think it's better to be safe, because it costs you money and also damages your credit rating when you make a full mortgage application and they do a full credit history check. So that's just the way we did it. You don't have to. It's a lot quicker if you do them both at the same time. But that's just the way we did it, because I want to be really cautious. And I'm glad we did, because it turned out that there was damp in the whole of the downstairs that was going to cost over £2,000 to get fixed. So we managed to get the seller to pay for half of that, which was put in a rider in the contract by our solicitor. So yeah, definitely glad we did that. And I do recommend doing it that way if you do have any uncertainty about the house and it is a older house, not a new build or anything like that. I also recommend getting the full survey, not the lower tier. I recommend just going all out. Like, I think we paid like £500 on ours, which is for a 2-bed house, and I'm so glad we did, because it was so detailed yet so easy to understand, and just definitely worth it. So we put our offer in March and we moved in at the end of July. So for a no chain house, that is quite a long period of time, but it was worth it, and we managed to save up like extra money along the way, which is helpful. Sorry about that, my camera just cut out, so I'm sorry if everything looks a bit different now. I was so worried about getting our mortgage offer accepted. We had no reason to be, but I was still so anxious about it. We checked our credit scores on Experian, Equifax, Nodal, and then there's the 4th one, but I can't remember exactly what it's called. ClearSource is also really good for checking your credit score. But either way, we somehow managed to get it. We never had any credit cards. That's one other thing I'd like to say, and I feel like is in line with the people thinking that you have to have 10% in order to buy a house for your deposit. Like, you don't need a credit card in order to have a good credit rating, in order to be able to get a house. So the credit that we had, so at the time I had a car on PCP, which I had to disclose obviously, and I'd never missed a payment, so that was good. I'd previously bought like little things like a Nintendo Switch. Even though I could have bought it outright at the time, I decided to get it on 0% credit because I could, and I knew it would just help my credit score, so I thought, why not just do that. Then did I have anything else? Like things like your phone even show that you have a good integrity and you are making your payments on time. Harry had previously had a car on hire purchase that he'd paid off as well. He also had like a phone, but neither of us had credit cards, so that is not an essential in my opinion. It wasn't for us. If I remember correctly, my credit score was quite a bit better than Harry's. His wasn't bad, but mine was just really good, because I'd made mindful purchases, always hit payments on time, had multiple things on credit before, like buying my phone. So I bought my phone on PayPal credit, I think, and I paid that off, all good. So I had a better credit score than Harry. His wasn't bad, but either way it balanced out the two, because your credit scores are taken as a pair as well, they're put together. So I think depending on the lender, maybe it'll change, but for our lender, they put our credit scores together, so they balance it out. So if you've got a really bad credit score but your partner's got a really, really good one, then still wouldn't worry at first, because they will put them together. So obviously when you do want to buy a house, you put in your offer, you have to get decision in principle. That is like a soft check that just says on paper you should be fine to buy the house and you're all good. But you can always lie on your decision in principle. Obviously we didn't, and it's definitely not a good idea to, but you can in order to be able to put an offer in on a house and get it accepted. But then when you come to do your mortgage offer, you won't get accepted if you lie. So yeah, although the decision in principle can still say that you can borrow X amount, you might not get that. It's not guaranteed whatsoever, and you will get told that when by your mortgage advisor. Fortunately for us, we were able to borrow the same amount that we got told, so that was fab. That's how we got on the property ladder. So one thing I would like to add is that we used to live in Surrey, where you have to pay more for what you get than you do here in Hampshire. It's not like astronomically more like it would be in London, but it's definitely more, and we definitely wouldn't be able to afford a place like this had it been in Surrey. So that is also something to bear in mind if you are looking to move. Places up north tend to be cheaper than obviously down south. I feel like that's kind of a general knowledge thing. I have nothing against renting whatsoever. I'm a total advocate for it. I think it's really great to rent as well before you buy. Just so you've got an aspect of bills and things like that, like how much disposable you can expect to have, etc, etc. So, but that, like I say, not everyone's able to do that. Some people buy straight away and some people rent for years and years and years, or they rent forever. I think that is everything. If you do have any questions, then please do comment them down below and I'll try to answer them. I hope I've been sensitive enough in this video. Obviously anything about money or finance is a little bit controversial, but I do want to say that I am very proud of myself for getting myself here. I didn't have any helping hand or anything like that. I worked hard to get the job that I have now, and I've worked hard throughout that. So I didn't get the best A-levels whatsoever, I didn't have the best like grades at all by any means. I'm actually dyslexic and I didn't find that out until after I finished school. Thank you so much for watching. Like I say, please comment any questions down below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And don't forget to like and subscribe. He's a good boy! What? Hello? Baby, what are you saying? What, is there anything you want to say? Please subscribe. Please give the video lots of likes. Oh, we've got Ember coming in. Oh god.